Hey, I'm Tony K. Welcome to Transformation School. Today we're going to look at a fan mode, a fan combination for Combiner Wars, and it would also work well for Unite Warriors Bruticus. I'd seen this in a few different places online, like TFW2005.com, the Dime Chalk Reports, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, Dime Chalk Reports on Facebook, and then the photos of it originally came from a social media site called Weeblo. I haven't gotten invested in Weeblo yet. So let me get Shockwave out of the way here. The fan mode involves putting an extra set of the Combiners Wars hands and feet in the midsection and one on the back of Bruticus to beef him up, to give him a bulkier look, to make him look bigger, thicker, more brutish, as he is Bruticus. When we have so many figures coming out that are just remolds of one another, it's a good way to make a character look distinct from all of the other remolds and repaints. Now, if you haven't invested in a third-party set of hands and feet, you might still accomplish this by stealing some hands and feet from one of your other Combiners figures. For example, we have the black hands and feet from the Protectobots. Personally, I like the color of the silver for our fan mode, but we'll take a look at it with the black as well. First, however, I am going to apply my Perfect Effect hands and feet. There is another third-party company that just in the last few days announced that they are making a set of hands and feet, new chest wings, waist wings, and a new head, and some gun add-ons for Combiner Wars Bruticus, and also something similar for Defensor. That company was called Dreamwave. And that set was going to initially retail, I think, for $45 or $55 from websites like TF Source and Big Bad Toy Store. And while I've already invested in these hands and feet for Perfect Effect, I like the idea of an upgraded chest and waist piece. That Dreamwave set is also going to include a piece that goes on this side of the legs. There's additional pieces here, I think, that will extend the legs out more to give Bruticus even more height. Maybe height and depth in his hips. What I would like to know from the photos that came out just the other day of the prototype for this Dreamwave set, it's made from prototype plastic, just a plain gray plastic, so I don't know what color the final product would be. I would want my Bruticus to look like the cartoon, so if the pieces that go on the legs here give it a gray or silver color, if this chest piece would be the purple and brown of the G1 cartoon, with a gray or silver head, I would want to invest in that Dreamwave piece. However, at the Canton Toy Show, Canton Toy Fair, within the last, I think in April of 2015, a third-party knockoff company called Machine Boy announced that they are going to do a knockoff version of the Warbotron, I don't know how to pronounce it. The Warbotron Bruticus. They were going to change the colors quite a bit. A bright yellow swindle. I didn't pay attention to the color of Brawl. Vortex was going to be purple. Or maybe that was Blastoff was going to be purple. And so I think the Warbotron design for Bruticus is very nice. I'm hoping that Machine Boy knockoff would be something that I could afford, maybe around $100. And if it is, once that becomes commercially available, I would consider selling this and purchasing that Machine Boy Warbotron knockoff. While the colors would be far from the G1 cartoon, I think the design of the Warbotron figure would be very, very nice to have in hand. Especially since all of these Combiner Wars figures, the designs are just so similar. To have the same character but with unique, more unique elements would just be a more pleasurable experience. So, we got the Perfect Effect hands and feet. And recapping, right? Recapping that ramble I just went on. Perfect Effect hands and feet here. Perfect Effect will also be releasing a set that is a head, bigger guns, and an extra connection piece so that the Perfect Effect hands can do a better job of holding Shockwave. But for the same price of that, the 2 Perfect Effect Bruticus sets, you could get the 1 Dreamwave set. And that Dreamwave set, the hands look like they're designed better to hold this connection. On that Dreamwave set, I see a circle and a square for Shockwave. Or, hopefully, if the price is right, on the Machine Boy Warbotron Bruticus knockoff. Lots of Bruticus options out there. One more hand to apply here. Now, I'm going to spin him around. So, the first part of the fan combination, it is utilizing the weapons ports on this back piece. And we'll take our foot and plug it in and tuck that piece in there. And we'll do another one here. Now let's have a look at him from the front. So, adding these feet here help fill in the sides and give him a thicker torso. Like maybe he's got more muscle or more fat on him. Or just a wider body frame. You can use any of the feet. When I was playing around with this off camera, I'd found 2 of the feet I felt had a better aesthetic than the other 2, going with the 4 Bruticus feet. Let's throw on the black feet real quick before we analyze the Bruticus feet. So here we've got the black feet on there. I'm not a fan of the black. I feel like the light does not catch it well enough to show detail to add to his body mass. Instead, it looks to me like negative space, like there's just a void around him, and that detracts from the idea of trying to beef him up. Instead, it makes it feel skinnier. If you didn't have Perfect Effect to work with, but you wanted to play with this idea of the beefing him up with the extra hands and feet, you might try using the black for his hands and feet and then using the silver for the beefing up effect. Now, I want to take a look at these all together. We're going to try switching out all these different feet, but I think what I like the most is this square, call it square, this blockier shape, this more block-like shape to go with his body frame, as opposed to this more tapered shape that I think doesn't add as much to his mass. But let's give it a shot. So this is the biggest, thickest one. It's got the most block-like design. And then here's a very tapered one. Right now I'm feeling the tapered one a little bit better, as it is fitting better behind his body. I'm sure after I'm done filming this, I'll switch them around a few more times to really make a decision on how to display them on the shelf. But I thought I wanted to go with a blackier one. And this one, I think, meets that criteria. Maybe one problem I'm having is I pushed it in to his backpack too far, rather than trying to push it in as far as possible. I should leave a little gap. I think that helps. Now, let's see, I've got Vortex's hand cannon here. In the photos that I saw online, they'd done this. Not bad, but aesthetically it's not working for me. I want to see more symmetry, so I am not doing that. Now, something else that that the online photos had shown, and again I think it helps fill out his body frame. We mistransform his shoulders a bit. We're going to have to angle it up and rotate this down, and then put our shield back. And that is really kind of the final touch of beefing him up, making it look like he's been eating his protein and lifting his weights. Now this section is a little unappealing. These the cab section when he's in truck mode, like where the people would ride, but after a minute or two it does sort of blend in. Psychologically it's not as visible. However, in posing the figure and moving his arms around, you've really got to hold on to his shoulder piece because now it's not anchored in by the wings. So it's not as easy to just grab the arm and twist it around. One other feature that the photos online had shown was a very modded hand piece that they had added over the shield. But in order to connect this to the shield, they'd had to cut off this whole side section, remove this thumb piece, this whole rotating piece, remove these fingers, and then carve out some pieces inside, and then glue it on. And that's not a modification I want to make to one of these hands. I mean, I do intend to resell this figure someday, hopefully if the Machine Boy Warbotron knockoff is relatively affordable. That is, compared to, say, these Combiner Wars figures and compared to the original release of Warbotron, which was like $500. Now there is one more feature. We want to add the back cannons, and I'd played around a lot with adding them to these hands up here, but there isn't a lot of length to get past all of this kibble, like the wheel and the truck piece that's going around the hand. So pegging the guns into the hands leaves them very likely to fall out. Also, since these shoulders are not locked in, it leaves the guns a little asymmetrical, a little cockeyed. And with some fiddling, you might be able to get them lined back up. But if you repose the figure at any time, then you're going to misalign them. However, using one of these extra hands, if we peg the hand into the back, we can peg the guns into the hand. However, they're extremely short now, and we do have all this back kibble. Once this figure's on display, the back kibble isn't noticeable, but the cannons are barely noticeable either. So you've got some options and some opportunity to make your own modifications. If you get the extra perfect effect set with the larger guns, or if you get the Dreamwave set with the add-ons that are going to slip over these guns, then pegging them into this handpiece might work out well. In the meantime, I'm going to store this hand on the back here. I'm going to go with pegging the gun into the fist. In order to get this perfect effect hand to hold Shockwave, and there is your bigger, beefier Bruticus. That's all for today's lesson. Class dismissed.